You want to do first?
Maybe just go to, it might be better for on the Orbital homepage, so I can just show them this is where it is. It's also in Slack, right? I haven't quite figured out how to properly use Slack. Yeah, this is good. I'll show them where it is.
Okay.
So it's
on already.
Yes. I'll start. Okay, let's start again. Okay. So for the next maybe 20-30 minutes, I hope to go through with you some of the requirements for the summer. And I think Min will also share with you some of the things that you have to do, the compulsory things that you have to do. And then tomorrow, he'll show you the system that you will use to do those things. Okay. So first of all, so this is you should have seen this. This is the Orbital homepage. Okay. If you don't know where it is, I guess Google for it. Google for SOC Orbital or something like that. I'm sure you'll find it. There are a few things on the homepage if you haven't discovered. These are the useful links. Slack is what we are going to use for most of your communication. So it's the newest, latest, hottest thing, right? Which a lot of people are using. So hopefully we'll figure out how to use it properly. Okay, I don't really know how to use it properly yet either. But the other thing is the OSQA forum. So this is essentially our FAQ. Okay, so this is, I'm going to go through a couple of things from here right now. Okay, so the first question you might have is FAQ. Look through if you have question, use tags. Let me see, it's probably somewhere down here. Okay, what are the requirements for the different level of difficulties? So please do interrupt me if you have any questions along the way. Okay, if you have questions, something that you don't quite understand, I'm sure others also feel the same way. Okay, so the first question you might have is, so we have 3 levels of difficulty in Orbital, right? And they are all entirely optional. Okay, so it's independent work. It's an independent work course. You choose the level of difficulty. The more you put in, the more you get out, right? The more you put in, the more you learn. But you do have to put in a minimal amount before we'll give you credit. Of course, right? Just like any other course, it's pass fail. If you to pass, you need to put in a minimal amount. Okay, and so what's the minimal amount? The minimal amount is the Vostok. You can see, yep, okay. So the 3 levels are the Vostok level, the Gemini, and the Apollo 11. These are the early space programs, right? Where finally we got to the moon. Okay, so Vostok is the beginner's level. The first requirement is you must attend this workshop. Some of you actually are not here, but those who are not here actually should have gotten prior permission. Okay, so if you are your partner, some of you, your partner can't make it. So if your partner can't make it and got prior permission, we let them go, but then they have to make up the hours. Okay, so you need to attend this workshop, then you need to log the time that you spend doing this work. Okay, a 4MC course, normal NUS requirement is about 130 hours. So you should log down the amount of time you spend. Make sure it's at least 130 because that's the amount of credit you're getting. The time includes time of attending this workshop. If your partner did not attend, then your partner has to make it up, right? Do more work to make up to the hours. But your partner should have gotten permission from us to be absent from this workshop. And the other required part is at the end of this, we have a showcase. You do a project presentation, a poster presentation. Some of you may have seen it. We did one of this in last August, right, for the previous batch of Orbital students. So you are expected to put up a poster and then demo your thing, okay, to everybody, right? To all those students sitting here, as well as to anybody who wants to come. And we particularly invite the first-year students so that they can see what you have done and be inspired to do interesting things next year. Okay, so that's sort of compulsory things, right? These are compulsory things. Applies not only to the basic level but to every level, right? Compulsory for everybody. Okay, so for the basic level, okay, so you need to complete a basic app. Okay, what's the level of a basic app? Roughly, it's roughly what we will build tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow we will run through some exercises, build a basic app, the gift-giving app that I showed you this morning as a prototype. So this morning was a prototype, right? It was PowerPoint. By the end of tomorrow, it will be live, real app, live. Anybody in the world can access it. Okay, so something at that level. Okay, exactly what, if you look at it, you judge, if somebody looks at it, if I look at it, or if one of your advisors look at it, or your peers, one of you look at it and say, roughly that's roughly the same. Of course, you can't submit the same thing, right? You have to make it your own. Roughly that level, and you study the 3 earlier requirements, then essentially we will pass you. Okay, you will get credit. It's a pass-fail course, right? You will get credit. Okay, so what's involved roughly in the app that we will build tomorrow? Essentially, we'll build it on Google App Engine, which makes it really easy to build things. Okay, it's on the cloud. You don't need to set up your own server. You don't need to get your own anything of your own. It's all on the cloud. Okay, so it makes it really easy. So you need something that will create, say, a database record, retrieve a database record, be able to delete a database record, modify it, have an interface over it that does something interesting. Okay, so essentially that's your basic app. If you have that, then and you have met your other requirements. Oh, okay, there's more requirements, right? Okay, roughly, if you have met that, that's the level. That's the level that you need to achieve to pass the course. Okay, if you do something on Google App Engine that's similar, then it's fairly standard. It's fairly easy to judge. Okay, if you want to do something different, then of course you also have to log the time you spend, and also you have to write. We'll have 3 checkpoints where you have to write what you have done, and if you are doing something different, you have to argue why it's equivalent, right? Roughly, why is the same as the basic app? Okay. Okay, so other than sort of build something, right? Remember, Amit Chopra earlier today, he's saying get feedback, right? Feedback is really good. Get feedback, have mentors. We have advisors for you who you can ask things about, right? But you also will get, in fact, you're forced to get peer feedback, and you're forced to give peer feedback. Okay, so that's what your evaluation group is for, peer feedback. Okay, so three times. How many? 3 times. Okay, 3 times over the summer, essentially, roughly every month. You will give feedback to other project groups inside your evaluation group, and they will give feedback to you. Okay, so essentially, you do 3 rounds of feedback.
So I just want to emphasize that it's a really, really important part of Orbital. This is why we're holding it as a module, not just as something you do over the summer for no credit. So it's important that you give good feedback to other teams, and important that you act on that advice that people are giving to you. So your advisors are really your role models. They're your seniors from Orbital last year who've gone through this process, and they know what to look for in different types of applications. Now, that said, some of you may not be doing web apps. You might be doing games. You might be doing embedded systems projects with, Android Wear or Apple Watch or whatever. That's fine. We would try to find some expertise for you to get good feedback. In fact, in Slack, you may have noticed there are some channels that are specifically for projects of a different nature. So in Slack, there's a channel for SIG NUS. So all those of you who want to do something associated with NUS can join that channel. I'll talk more about that later. But I really do want to emphasize the reason why your seniors have recommended this course to you in part is because of the fact that you do peer evaluation. Okay? And you're all helping each other out as a team right here in this room, sitting with members of your evaluation group, helping you get through summer together. So a lot of people, when they start the summer, they have a lot of free time. They can do good projects, but what happens after a month? They lose steam, okay? So this is why we have these free evaluation checkpoints, which we'll talk more about later.
Okay, and hopefully you're sitting with the people that will peer evaluate you. Like, look at the faces, okay? No, you probably won't meet many times. Hopefully you will. Hopefully you'll come to our weekly meeting. We do have weekly mission control. Right, so essentially that's it. If you do all that, then you pass the course. Okay? You'll be Yuri Gagarin, right? That's part of Vostok. I'm sure you've heard of Yuri Gagarin, right? Okay, so what if you want to do a bit more, right? And we encourage you to do more. This is self-learning. We will recognize you by giving you certificates for the different level of achievements, right? We'll give you, if you do the project Gemini, we will give you a certificate. What's the certificate worth? Well, depends, right? Like for example, if you are planning to apply for NOC and they look at your Gemini level, they would know, this fella went an extra mile, right? During the summer, he didn't just hang around and do nothing. He didn't just do Orbital and get Vostok. He went the extra mile, right? He self-learned more stuff. Okay, so okay, if you want to do more, sort of the intermediate level, what we would like you to do, if you do the basic, right, which is the web app on Google App Engine, then we want you to do a few more extensions, right? Well, what are extensions? Again, we list a few possible things here, but again, it's up to you. If you do something different, argue for it, right? In the end, you're going to be peer evaluated in your, and when you do peer evaluation, you have to show and you have to write, right? You show your app, and then you write down what it is, what it does, and why it is equivalent to Project Gemini. Okay, so you have to argue for it. So what are reasonable things? So if you are using a different platform that it's non-standard immediately, okay, we say that's one good thing. Okay, so if you are doing Ruby on Rails or if you are doing Android, good, you are most likely on your way to Project Gemini. Okay, if you add an administrative front end to your app, if you add social integration, all those Facebook lights that you see right around, or Facebook Facebook login, OpenID login, right? So roughly each of these things, roughly we treat it as sort of one additional thing. And if you do about 4, doesn't have to be exactly 4. Again, right? You have to convince. At the end, you have to convince your peers, your advisors, and us that you have done enough. Okay. If you so you do Facebook login, for example. How to do that? Okay, go and read it up, right? We have some links here that you can read up on. Independent learning, learn how to do it, and then do it, and then show. Okay. Input validation, right? This is important. Right? If you don't do input validation, it could be a security risk, right? If you expect, a certain a name of a book or something, but your user put in an SQL query, a database query, and then you take that string and then try to ask your database to come up with something. Who knows what the string does, right? So input validation is to check that the things that the user input is what it's supposed to be, okay? And it's connected to security as well. So you can read about it. I have some links. I think we have some links to security. You can read about why it's important to do things like input validation. Make sure what the user input is what they are allowed to input. Okay, not a database query, for example, into something else that you are expecting. Use cookies. If you don't no cookies. That's one of the things that one of the web technologies. Okay, use APIs. This morning you heard about Google Maps. You can use Google Maps API, so that could be interesting. Then your app will have a map, right? And it can show where you are and all sorts of things. Google Maps is one. One Map is the Singapore version. It's SLA, I think Singapore Land Authority. They put out One Maps, and it is pretty good. It's got a lot of things that Google Map doesn't have, right? Local Singapore information. Okay, so you might want to look into One Map as well. Oops, I clicked on that by mistake, but this is One Map. Go back. Sorry, let me find it again since it refused to go back. Looks like we have technology trouble again. I'm not sure. It seemed.
Which one were you trying to do?
Let me see. This is.
This one?
No. I was clicked on it by mistake and I wanted to go back, but. Okay, let me try to set up this. Well, hopefully that works.
Which page are you trying to look at? Just the one back?
Yeah, just the same. This one I was trying to go back.
Yeah.
It's fine. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
which one?
Okay. That's okay. Let me see. Well, hopefully the web is back. It was this one. Come on. Oh. Is it OSQA that's having?
Yeah, it's all OSQA.
Oh, okay. Is there a copy somewhere else? Slack response.
Yeah, just points out. Let me see whether I can find it somewhere else. Maybe we go over the other parts first.
They're all on OSQA, right?
Okay.
Which is. Sorry, we have technology trouble.
They're all spinning.
Okay, while Min is hopefully fixing our problems, any questions? Particularly Vostok, right? Since most of you are going to do, I don't know, maybe can I have a show of hands? How many are thinking of doing the basic level Vostok? Show of hands, no need to be shy. Not that many, which means you're all gung-ho, right? Great. How many Gemini? The second level. Fantastic. Okay, good. How many? Well, I haven't told you what Apollo is yet, but how many are thinking of Apollo 11? Oh, good. Fantastic. Yeah, actually, I think in the past, probably, in fact, less than half the class does Vostok, which means probably more than half the class go beyond the sort of basic level. So, hopefully more. Like the basic level is fairly basic, right? But after tomorrow, Okay, it's very dense when we just go through, we just tell you this, this is how you set it up. You will need to go back and do it yourself. Okay, but like roughly you can take what we show you and then look at it, try to understand it, modify it, and you have something working. And but you can actually do it, in a day. Right? In fact, okay, let me talk while Min hopefully can fix it. There's a hackathon coming up in July, right? I don't know how many of you have been to hackathons, but often this is like overnight, 24 hours, sometimes it's 48 hours. The one in July probably is 24 hours, is about organized by IDA on Smart Nation. By July, sometime in July, you guys will all be ready.
Okay.
Like within half a day, within a day, based on what you have learned in Orbital, you can put up an app. So if you go to a hackathon, in 24 hours, you can get something working very nicely.
I put up the old one from Piazza.
Oh,
so that
okay.
one's working.
Okay. We are not really back, but we are somewhere else. Right? Oops. Your thing is a bit too sensitive. Back, right? Oh, it's okay. It's quite sensitive. Okay, where were we? Okay, Google Maps. Right. Okay, hope you can still see. Maps is one thing, or communicate with some other web services, right? Using JSON or XML, right? So that's another extra thing that you could do. If you don't know what that is, or essentially it is what I said, right? Communicate with another web services. So it's just a format for you to communicate, like so that both computers understand what's happening. So figure out how to do it and then put it in. So that would be another possible sort of extension. Let's see. Okay, have your app display on mobile clients, right? Or a lot of you might be thinking doing something on Android. Those all count, right? As sort of extra, going beyond sort of the basics. Okay. And every week, I think on Wednesday evening, we are going to have a sort of a small gathering. Usually about 20 students will turn up. If you're around, we'll show you what we'll be talking about. And then we'll normally have a speaker who will talk about the technology. And then there'll be some homework at the end. Right? So if you do a few of those homework, we count them. Okay? So, do come. Every Wednesday, we'll have 1 or 2 hour meeting. And right, so that's mission control. And if you do the homework from that counts as sort of additional work as well.
So those of you who don't know, on our website, there is a lift-off tab here, which we're going over today. But if you look at the Google Calendar that's embedded there, there's all the sessions that we're going to hold over the summer. So next week, for example, we're going to go through Bootstrap, which is a really important CSS technique. Then the week after that, Meteor, Ben, who's in the audience somewhere over there, will be teaching Meteor. So if you want to get Project Gemini in 1 week, you can do Meteor because it has a lot of these nice features already pre-baked into it. So he definitely encourages a lot of you to try this framework out because it makes it a lot faster. So you can try to do that. There's other ones, so you can go through the rest of the talks. Actually, this is confirmed now. It will be jQuery on that week. So back to Lisa.
Yep. Okay. So I think that's about it. Okay. So again, you have to do everything that the Wostock people have to do, the peer evaluation and all that. Okay. And then roughly about 4 extra things. If what you do is not in this list, that's fine. Argue that it's roughly equivalent. Right, roughly equivalent in terms of what? In terms of work, in terms of difficulty, right? You should argue for it. Okay, convince people. Okay, any questions about Gemini? I think okay. Right. So you'll almost be Neil Armstrong after you finish that. Questions? Good. Possibly the majority of people may end up with Gemini. Maybe, right? Maybe. Go beyond the basics. Okay, Apollo 11. So there are two different ways of doing Apollo 11. So that is doing it with a mentor. So mentors also, let me differentiate between advisors and mentors, right? Advisors are senior students who did, most of them would have done Orbital last year or the year before, and they will sort of help guide you, right, with the evaluation and everything. Anything they can help, they will help to guide you. Mentors are usually outsiders. Most of them anyway. Most of them, or they may also be very senior students, but most of them would likely be outsiders. Okay, so outsiders, their time is a little bit different. They are busy people. So if you want to take Apollo 11 with mentors, you have to complete Orbital, right? If you are taking any other schema of Orbital and you decide to drop out, we are fine. We will only give you credit at the end when you show us everything you have done, and it's good enough, right? If you drop out in the middle of the way, okay, we are fine. But if you do Apollo 11 with mentor, you take up the external people's time, and then you say, I don't want to do this anymore, we will fail you. Okay? You will get a CU. So that's the only real fail. Okay? Anything else, if you drop out, we are still okay. But of course, you don't want to drop out, right? Why would you want to drop out? Okay, so so that's with a mentor, right? Other than with a mentor, so what can a mentor give you? Right? Or depends on who the mentor is. Whether they can give technical advice or they can give business advice, or right. So later at the end of today, those of you who are interested in having a mentor, we have a matching session at the end of the day. Okay, so if you are doing okay, so this is, I think, an old version. You should look at the newest version when it's up. Or do we have?
Let's try it again.
Okay, let's try the.
Which one are we doing?
That one.
We'll wait for it. If it stops spinning,
Okay.
then we can go back.
Okay, so with Apollo 11, we want you to get very close to deployment. Okay, so right, we want you to do some usability testing, right? Get sort of survey, hopefully as real users as possible, at least your peers, right? Try to market your app, get say 200 users, get real users, or write a business plan, right? Get as close to deployment as possible. Actually, this is probably the latest version. Okay, I think this is actually the latest version. Okay, so we want you to use some version control. You will hear about Git tomorrow. Version control is a good way to do software engineering, where you can sort of go back to, if you mess up, you can go back to your previous version. That's one nice thing about version control. Everything you do, there is sort of backup to the previous versions, and it's a very nice way to collaborate multiple people to work on the same project. You will not overwrite each other. Well, if you overwrite each other's things, it will let you know. The software will let you know. Right? So it's a very nice way to work in a group. And all, beyond what you do in basic programming, all software engineering will use version control. But you guys are first year, right? So you will have to self-learn how to use version control. But if you are doing Apollo 11, we expect you to use version control. Okay, so then we want you to get close to the user. You should try to do as many of these as possible if you are aiming for Apollo 11. Right? Use version control, extend the project, right? Market it, try to get real users. If you want, write a business plan or something, show it to us. And other technical things like do unit testing. That's if you don't know what it is, again, you have to self-learn, right? Figure out how to write proper software that essentially tests itself. Okay, in a distributed environment, that's what transactions are used for. Again, I won't tell you what it is. Read up. Performance optimization, so that if it's a web app, so that it's fast, right? Again, you heard earlier today about latency. About if you click on something, it should after a very short period, it should turn up, right? If it doesn't turn up, you have a performance issue. It's not fast enough, right? So optimize, you need to fix it. So if you do Apollo 11, optimizing is one of the way you show, right? Figure out how to optimize your code, your app. Do data analytics, that might be interesting. If your app somehow involves lots of data, that could be an interesting, somewhat more advanced thing to do. Okay, do parallel processing. Essentially, MapReduce is a nice, easy way, essentially started by Google, to do parallel processing, right? Which allows you to scale up to whatever your next 1 billion user. Okay, so try MapReduce, use camera, sound, whatever else you have, touch, other sensors that you have on your mobile app or whatever, right? So all these things are going beyond, okay? These things are not necessarily, I guess, easy or difficult. They are at varying levels of difficulty, right? But roughly, these are the sort of things you want to do. Let me see, what did we say? Okay, you must use version control if you want Apollo 11. You must try to get it close to the user, right? Do some form of marketing or something like that. And then do 2 more beyond, I think that should be beyond Gemini, right? Do 2 more of roughly these things or equivalent things beyond what the Gemini people will be doing. Okay, then you would have done a lot, right? A lot. But not, don't think it's really a lot, right? Most of you can actually do it. Okay. Or equivalent, right? Again, it's all equivalent. Okay. Don't be bound by what we say. Argue that what you have done is equivalent. And okay, I didn't quite mention it. So we expect you to actually help your peers, right? So this year we are on Slack. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but we expect you to post things that are helpful to your group, okay? So for all levels, do that, right? Not just peer evaluation, as well post to the interest groups to help your peers, okay? So that this is more a self-learning class rather than self-learning individually. I think that's right. So that's it in terms of the three level difficulty. Again, it's self-chosen, but push yourself, right? So it's your first summer. Most of you are not doing anything, right? So use it to push yourself. By July, I'm sure you guys will be able to hack up something within half a day. So you will go and win the hackathon at SG, right? And so on. Okay. Questions? Any questions about this? No? Okay, let me then just show. Oh, I'm not sure. We probably have that. Let me show you a few of the apps that people did last time. Good. Okay. So these are sample from 2103. We didn't quite get it, the list from 2104, which is last year. So this was the first year that Orbital was run. So this is on the OSQA as well, okay, on Slack as well, when it's up. Okay, we didn't get last year's list, but this year we will have it all recorded in the system that you're going to use for evaluation. So all your app, if it's websites anyway, if it's web apps, right, we will have it recorded so that next time people will still be able to see. As you can see, these are all public and they are still available from 2 years ago. I guess this one's sort of cute. So this is a Vostok project. Oh, it's not. Oh, it is working, right? Okay. So it's the bell curve God for you to pray to get good grades in your exam, right? So you can pray, and you can do a little bit more. They do have a database at the end. Essentially a Vostok level sort of project. Like if you put CS, then you can check. Let's see what it gives. Okay, it gives you some details of the course. So there's a database behind that, and it allows people to put in comments, right? So roughly, so this is what you expect, a basic app, okay? So yeah, so you can leave your comments here, and you can pray, right, for the to a CS1010. Well, you don't need to pray to the CS1010. Maybe you need to pray to the CS1020 God, right? Okay, so that's one. Let's maybe look at one. So Gemini is something a bit different, right? So, okay, so this list from 2 years ago, that was the first time we ran it. We are less stringent. If you look at the requirements, it's actually more stringent now. So, you know, some of the Project Gemini on this list may not pass what we call Project Gemini in your list, okay? So, but anyway, it's up there. We awarded Project Gemini 2 years ago to this. But say something different, a game, for example, this is a game. Right, so this is a JavaScript game, for example. Some of you might have seen this. I've shown this before. Right, so, crash. Right, but it's a JavaScript game. So something a bit right beyond the basics, right? Okay. All right, so something beyond the basics. Okay, maybe again Apollo 11 this year and last year is a lot more demanding than the first year. Okay, so if you look at the list and see that it doesn't meet what I said just now, because we are more demanding now. Mod Maven might be interesting because I think it's been incorporated into NUS mods. All of you use NUS mods, right? So I think, let's see, CS 1020, let's see what it does. Right, so this sort of features is now in NUS mods. So I forget his name. After he did this, he incorporated into NUS mods. So he's one of the NUS mods maintainer now. Okay, so the things that you do, some of it, hopefully, well, most of it will still be public, right, in 2 years' time, as you can see. Hopefully, they will actually be used by people. Some of it will be used by people, but all that is up to you. Okay, so yeah, not sure what you could do with, oops, description. Right, like you can see, you can log in with Facebook. You can search for modules. Right, so the list is there. You can explore and have a look. Again, let me remind you, the requirements this year are, I think, more stringent than the first time we ran it. Okay. Okay. So any questions? If not, I'm more or less done. So hopefully it's fairly clear to you what the requirements are. Okay, there will be actually the mechanics, right? These are sort of requirements. There's actually how you actually do it, how you give peer feedback. We will go through it tomorrow, and over Slack we will have advisors who will help to guide you on how to do all those things.
Okay, so we went over the difficulty levels. We're really pleased that a lot of you are going to try Project Gemini. That's encouraging in Apollo 11. We also want to give you just a heads up about what's going to happen for the peer evaluation process. So I think many of you are already familiar with this, but in case you're not, this is how it works. There are going to be 3 different evaluation milestones over the summer. Okay, the first one will happen 1st of June. So that's not too far from now. It's about 2 weeks from now. You're going to be asked to give some details about the project that you're trying to accomplish, okay? And to start to get some idea of the project planning about it. Okay, so it's just about, what you're going to do on stage tomorrow, and then a little bit more thought into what user base you're trying to attack, what problem are you trying to solve, why is it important? All those big question issues, not about the implementation. So all the paper prototypes you did this morning, that's exactly where we want to be on your particular problem at the end of May. Okay, so 1st of June. So
After that, there will be another milestone. This is the big milestone where you've already defined your project scope. You're going to start building features for your project, whatever it might be. Okay, and then your peers are going to evaluate. They think that you can finish all of what you plan to do by the end of Orbital, by the end of July? Okay, actually, you don't have until July. You have a little bit longer than that because our course actually finishes on Splashdown August 19th, but we say that you're supposed to finish with Orbital by the end of July. Okay, we have our third milestone, preparation for presentation, documentation, and implementation progress, and especially for Apollo 11 teams, testing what you've done to test your application. That will be on then. Okay, very, very important. Calendar this in your Sem 1 next semester. Week 2, Wednesday, which is going to be, this is the wrong date, is 12th of August, not 19th of August, 12th of August, that's wrong. Okay, there will be all of you coming back to SR1 in the School of Computing, especially those of you who are not from SOC. We hope that you'll transfer over, but in any case, even if you don't, we still love you. Okay, then we will have a big session in SR1 where all of you will have to create a poster, an A1 size poster that will be printed from SOC's help desk. It usually costs $12, but Google is funding it, so you get it for free. Okay, so you get a little bit more for free. Okay, we'll have 2 sessions. It's going to take roughly about 3 hours, a lot shorter than liftoff, but it'll be a lot of fun. Everyone loves this session. So how do these milestones work? Basically, those dates that I showed you on the last slide, which is again June 1st, June 27th, and July 29th. Okay. You will have to go into a system called Skylab, which an FYP student is currently building. So he's a little bit under pressure to have 300 users to build it this week. Okay, but basically what he was going to do is allow you to enter in 2 pieces of information: a project README and a log of the number of hours each of your teammates have done. Okay, some of you may be paired together already and attending liftoff together, so you can report joint hours. You can individually report hours, okay? So when you put that in your README and your project log, we'll release those on those evaluations, okay? On those dates, they will be due. So let's say June 1st, your team will have to say, what did I do so far? Well, I attended liftoff. We had a meeting at Starbucks, and we talked about our project, and we got some other paper prototypes done. I took some pictures of the paper prototype, etc. Okay, upload that. Then on June 2nd through June 8th, your peers, that means all of your other teammates in your evaluation group that are assigned to evaluate you, 3 other teams, will evaluate your project along with your advisors. So your advisors are doing heavy lifting that they review every team's projects, okay? They're going to be doing that. They're sitting there laughing. Haha, that's a lot of work. Oh my goodness. Okay, so they're going to be doing that for you because they're nice people. All right, and then a week later, again, let's say 8th of June, you will have to give some feedback on how they've done. Okay, so I'm going to show you one of these forms because it's a little bit easier that way. If I can find it. Let's see. All right. Okay, so this is one of the forms that you have to fill out. Let me blow that up. It's a little small. Okay, this is just a web page. But basically, what will happen is you have to fill out some form. This is for the one that you have to turn in June 1st, okay, about the project ideation. Okay, and they're just basically very simple questions about how someone else feels about the project. Okay. And then features for the next sprint. So each sprint in Orbital is 1 month long. So you have 3 chances to improve your project. Okay, we'll talk about user stories, how you go about making the parts of your application or your service meaningful to a specific role of users. Okay, whether you're coming close to a working prototype at the end of all the iterations of Orbital. Okay, the project README and log, that's what I told you earlier. So that was just their impression of your project. Now they're going to grade your README and log, whether they think you're going to meet all of the hours that you'll need to do to make the 130-hour minimal requirement for Orbital. Okay, so those of you doing Project Gemini and Apollo 11, we expect you to go way beyond that. We've had teams that have reported 400 to 500 hours of work just for this 4MC module. That's because they love what they do. They're really vested in their project. We really like that. Okay. Very important is that there is a section on all of these evaluation forms for critical feedback. So when you give advice as a team, that information you give back to the other team is given to them to know who they are, okay? But if you give some negative feedback, you can put it in this section. It will be sent anonymously to them. They'll see it, but they don't know which team it's associated with. So if you're worried about that, you can send it in the anonymous feedback, okay? And they have to give you an overall evaluation score. Okay? So that's how it works. Basically, there will be 1 week where you have to turn in your own project log and README, and then 1 week later, you have to go through at least 3 other teams and just fill out the simple evaluation form, which I've shown you. It'll be on a website this time instead of on a form, so that you can provide feedback to others. And as Wee-san already pointed out, for Project Gemini and Apollo 11, we need you to give good feedback, all right? So you need to give comprehensive feedback to the other teams about how their system works, etc., to make it improved. Okay? So at the very end of Orbital, okay, after the 3rd milestone, you will also be able to give feedback on your feedback. Huh? How does that work? Okay, all that means is that when you think about the teams that are peer evaluating you, okay, they are maybe giving good feedback, they may not be, all right? But we know it's a criteria for passing at a higher level of achievement for Project Gemini and Apollo 11. So we're going to ask those teams that you gave feedback to give feedback on how good your feedback was. Hopefully they'll say, you know, without their feedback, I wouldn't have been able to build this feature or think of a user requirement in a certain way. Okay, so I will go over how the Skylab framework works tomorrow. This is not ready yet. Like everything, it's done last minute. Okay, but hopefully you'll get to see it in motion then. Okay, if you have questions, you can let us know. Otherwise, what we are going to do is now proceed to partner matching. So I need everyone to get ready to move, because those of you who don't have partners are going to come towards the front so we can execute partner matching with you. All of you who are teamed up, I want you to move out of the middle division, go somewhere else, have a nice chat with your partner about what you're going to do for Orbital, how you're going to achieve it, and then come back at around 2:40. For those of you who are not matched up, please come to the front here. I'm going to go through a couple of things together, all right? So we're going to take at least a 5-minute break before we start the partner matching set, roughly 2 o'clock. Right now it says 1:54 on my clock. Thank you.